on the one that has the Thunderstorm. I'll call it the Thunderstorm, the plasma generating retrofit to it. And it's feeding it back into the Thunderstorm generator. And that's it.
Man, and you've seen this.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. It got so off track, and I wanted to stick to the science. Now, I knew at the time, this is February, a year ago last month, I knew that there was a whole series of testing coming up the next summer, which was last summer. And I was present at some of these tests and saw for myself what was happening and was able to, there with an admiral, a retired admiral from the Indian Navy, flew all the way over from India to be there present at this testing that was at a major industrial laboratory at one of the research labs out in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's all at this point that I can say about it, but until the final test results are published. But I was there, saw it working, saw 2 generators, a control generator, and one with the technology. I watched as the engineers and the scientists there calibrated them both. And then I was the one who went up and started both generators. They're both in 2 separate rooms. Started the technology on one of the generators. And so we've got readouts. We've got gas analyzers there, probes going up into the exhausts of the generators. We've got a couple of guys there with mass spectrometers hooked up. So we've got multiple ways of determining what's coming out of the exhaust pipes of these 2 generators, right?
Yeah.
I go up there and I flip the switch on the one that has the Thunderstorm, I'll call it the Thunderstorm, the plasma generating retrofit to it. And we watch. So we got a first read. I can show you, actually, I've got a printout of the readouts right here on my computer.
Really?
Yeah, I do. And you can see you've got, I think it's called a Kane 5 something, because it measures 5 gases, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, other methane, other hydrocarbons, probably like methane and whatever else, and oxygen. Okay, so flip the technology on. You can sit there, I can watch the mass spectrometer, I can watch the gas analyzer. You're looking at like 10% or parts per million. Let's see. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and oxygen were in percentages. Methane and nitrogen oxide were in parts per million. So basically, oxygen is like at a 4 or 5% coming out of the exhaust, which is about typical for a generator like that. You got, I think, like 10, 11 was it 12% of CO2, CO, etc. So as you're watching it, here's what happens. The carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, hydrocarbons, and nitrogen oxides start going down. Oxygen starts coming up.
Interesting.
CO2 zeroes out. Carbon monoxide zeroes out. The nitrogen oxides go down to just a few parts per million, as does the other hydrocarbons. Oxygen tops out at over 20, I don't remember exactly, between 20 and 21%, which is optimum percentage of oxygen for pure unpolluted air. So what is now coming out of the generator, the generator with the technology, is pure unpolluted air.
No kidding.
No kidding. No
Whoa.
kidding. Yeah. On top of that, what it's doing, it's capturing everything that's coming out, and it's feeding it back into the Thunderstorm generator. So at the initial, in order to get the plasma separation to occur, I think you have to get it up to like 700 and some degrees. But once you do that, it's almost, not quite, but almost self-perpetuating. And you just have to replenish the water. Like, I forget, however few hundred hours that it runs, you have to replenish the water. And that's it.
Man, and you've seen this.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. And I've known, multiple people now that have seen it. The admiral, he took it back to India. India is seriously looking at it and as a retrofit for their Navy.
Man.
The industrial, and I can show you this on the computer too. I've got photographs of like the big industrial scale application on the 300 kilowatt Perkins generator on the substation in London. I mean, they're testing it, and they may start retrofitting all of their because it doubles to triples the efficiency of these engines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you think that they had this back in ancient times?
Some iteration of it, I suspect. And here, now, it just gets more bizarre as we go on. When you create these vortexes, you start this spiral motion inside the sphere, and then it travels down. So you got an outer cylinder and an inner cylinder. And one vortex is inside the outer, but outside the inner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then the next vortex going in the opposite direction, and the opposite spin is inside the next cylinder.
Okay.
Now, in order to transition from, and again, and I can show you this on here, because I've got photographs of all the components, how they fit together, videos of them being assembled in the machine shops, right here on this laptop, so you can see it. You can't, like if you have a sphere and you just cut a round hole in it and you stick a cylinder onto it, it's got this like sharp edge, and that would induce turbulence that would affect this coherent, organized vortex that forms. So you have to have a transition between the cylinder and the sphere to prevent that turbulence from being introduced. Experimentation has shown that one angle seems to be optimum for minimizing the introduction of the turbulence. What do you think that angle is?
I don't know.
51.84 degrees. Slope to base of Khufu's pyramid. Another coincidence? I don't know. But that leads me to think, okay, I've suspected all along that these pyramids and these structures are part of an ancient technological system.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.